that it, whoa, I think I've got these handles here, eh? I gotta think about this again. Ugh, every time I do one thing, it just turns into a hassle. I'm glad I didn't throw these out, because these should latch further out. My God, everything has to work with everything else. One step forward, 2 steps back. That was 3. A couple steps forward, a couple steps back. I think we just did a step forward, but to take the next step forward, I think we're gonna need to take a couple steps back. Whoop. I think that's pretty good, and I think I could weld that together. I don't know. I've been gathering these parts, I've been gathering these panels for a little while. The first panel that I got down caps the top of the tailgate. The next panel is the bulk of the cover plate, and then all of these other pieces, transition pieces around the handle, because we still need to be able to see the handle, but I want all of it to look OEM as it has the entire way through. Let me just move some of these out of the way. Okie dokie. We've got this panel, covers it up. That's nice and neat. We've got the big panel that has all of the kind of ridges on it, which is sweet. But on some of those ridges, we're gonna need to have a deviation in them so that it still looks like it should fit in. So we'll have the line up, so you can see this one is lining up with this one. We'll cut that down, so then it cuts around this handle piece. There's a huge amount of trimming, and we've got to make sure that this is the same as this side. All of the ridges line up. The other thing that we've got to do is work out how this panel sits on. We've got a fair bit going on over here. I should be able to trim down along this face to take up some of the thickness over here, but at the same time, like, we don't necessarily need to be covering this again. We are going to need to cut out a section up, across and back, so then we have full clearance on the slide mechanism. And then at the same point over here, this doesn't need to be up here. Kind of thinking we've got this line here where there's another thickness. We'll cut that out of this, and then we'll get the measurement so that this bottom lines up with this bottom and weld it all the way across the top. Good chat. No, I didn't cut enough out. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Yikes. That is uncomfortable. I just get showered in sparks. With that one, boy, is it a nice, clean, quick cut. Probably could have just cut into the desk instead of having it open underneath, so it just like... That looks pretty good. That's pretty much it. That's all I need to do to that panel until I'm welding things or gluing things in. That is fully functional. Wonderful. Delightful. Now what do I do? Next step is the big panel. And I know the first two cuts we need to do are straight down the middle of this ridge and straight down the middle of this ridge. So what we want to do, widen one of the ridges so this comes up and over the plate. We shouldn't be able to see the screws. If we want to adjust the tension on the slide hinge, we just remove the panel, adjust it, put the panel back on. So then it is just the ridges over the top. Does matter is setting the depth, because I don't care if I cut into my desk, but I don't want to cut all the way through my desk. I think the next step we want to do is kind of template out this cutout, so then I can offer it up to the bigger piece, mark out where it's going. We do still need to set height. The one variable that I've got is if this whole piece gets cut out, or make a transition so it just comes up and then goes straight back down. It's just whatever kind of looks a little bit more factory. It might look out of place, might need to be there to look right. Template time. I don't have any more shapes boxes either, so I'm going to have to use regular cardboard. Thank you very much. There's just a lady getting a car serviced and she's going, wow, that's awesome. They work really damn well. So we've now got clearance around the release mechanism. I think we need to get one side set up first. We can then set where the radius comes in and then just copy the other side. I don't want to do both at the same time. We want to use one as the template for the other. How did I cut that too big? Yeah, that one goes there, then that one's gonna go there. This is gonna work, and it's gonna work so nice. Clean. Sick. Okay. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? Give that a clean up and then match the other side. Noise. So I put a little bit too much heat into it, next door at the crash shop, and I just put some heat in and then cooling it from the back of the panel. It's lost so much of the wobble in there. So, what you just saw, we're next door at the crash shop, and Stan was doing a copper-coated carbon rod, which arcs onto the metal. You generate a heat on one side and then you put a wet rag on the other side so it kind of shrinks it down, because there were just a couple of high spots where I'd welded it all together, and when it comes to fitting this off, it is going to get bolted down, but any really like lumpy spots are going to show up. So there's probably a fair bit of panel beating and messing around with this panel to be like perfect by the end of it, but we do still need to weld the outside. Making it perfect now is not completely necessary. The next step is we need to cut, shift that over, and then get the offcuts and place them. We cover up the slide hinge. I noticed that the bolts are still a little bit high. So we had two options. We either drill holes in these plates, so then the bolts, God damn that truck. Whatever. We drill holes in the plates so then we can see the bolts. But then if we want to take this panel off, we got to undo those bolts, which means the tailgate is hanging. No good. Bought some countersunk bolts and we're going to countersink all of these, and then this panel will fly right over the top. So we need to set tension on the slide hinge and then the panel goes on. It also means that these are going to have a much harder time undoing, which is also good. Now that we've set the distance between these two ridges, we can work out the distance between that and the down ridge, cut the piece, weld them on, then weld the next piece on. I've done a little bit more since I last filmed. I think all of the pieces are on except for one more detail that I'm gonna go cut out of a car, but I don't know which car I'm cutting it out of yet. I think I'm just gonna send it on cutting the lower cut and hope that it's right. You can always just weld it back on again though. I really don't wanna do that. Please, this is gotta be correct. That really is so uncomfortable to do. Sounds horrible, it feels horrible. Didn't tack that lower bit together, whatever. Let's take it off and see if it fits. Right, so the cables get in the way. Oh, that's easy. Go around them. That is fucking so good. That's sick. So there's still a huge amount of work that needs to be done to this. Should I cut the top? Well, I'm definitely not changing where it goes now. And there is still like a little leeway because I've cut it tight and we probably want a gap like upper and lower. So I can adjust if I need to, but boy, do I hope I don't need to. Still burrs on it. That is upside down, buddy. Fuck. That looks sick. There's panel beating that needs to be done, and like the bars running through here. So the bolts that hold it down are going to be just at the top of there. Do I cut out that centerpiece a little bit more? Well, it looks like I've taken out too much in some spots and not enough in others, but I can mess around with that when it comes to moving it into its final position. Boy, does that look good. I kind of want to put it like some black primer over the top of it, but I've got so much welding to do, I'm just gonna have to clean it off. Do I sit on it? Yes. Yes. Panel looks good. We need to add 2 more things to it before we can start welding everything up. And it's these handles. So I need to, this is kind of roughly the position they're going in. So middle of the ridge, and then they are gonna get sunk in. So about here, and then I'll cap the top of it, and that will be hard up against the bar. Changed my mind a little bit. The positioning of this, once I cut it out in the ridge, that's kind of where it has to go, and everything else stays exactly where it is, which I don't think that's completely the case. I need to set this piece exactly where it's going to go, and then I can work out where to cut into it. To set this piece where it needs to go, I need to do that little, I need to weld this piece in, or at least tack it in, set it, cut this out. Another couple of steps back before we move forward. I mean, they're kind of all steps forward. I'm just doing different steps than I thought I would. There's a small chance that this piece doesn't need to come off once I tack it on. I'm hoping it's bigger chance than a small chance. I really don't want to take this off once I weld this on. The outside we can prep whenever. The inside, I've already sanded it, but like anything that we're going to do bare metal, it's the same process. Sand it, wipe it down with some Terrason VR10, Bonderite wipes. So these are the rust wipes, and then U-Pole weld through primer. When everything's finished and everything's set, go through with some cavity wax, Terrason's WX215. I don't know if anyone remembers this bit of cardboard, but this line is the roof line. I don't need that anymore. I already have a roof on my car. That went pretty well. Not great, but not bad. Pretty well. Let me shut it and see if it still shuts properly. Definitely feels sturdier. Done a bunch of cutting, bunch of measuring. It's now sitting in the spot I want it to sit in. To bolt the cover panel to the frame, I'm just going to use riv nuts. Holy cow, that looks good, doesn't it? That looks like a dang tailgate. I ended up putting 4 more screws so it's in between every ridge, just to make sure it's bolted down. When it's all black and they're gold, I think they're gonna pop. I think they'll look pretty good. And like, look at it. Look at it. How cool is that? The next thing we need to do, I can't shut it currently, so I need to cut out for the strikers, and I need to work out how I want to end all of this, make it look nice and neat. Then it is back to the handles. Let's get it so it can shut again, because I kind of want to see what it looks like with it up closed. Yeah, sweet. That works really well. I'm going to do some tidying up, and when I weld that last little bit, probably going to get a little shitty, but I can fix that up, that's all working. I've already taken the measurement from the bottom to the bar that runs across. So the next step is working out these handles. I've tried to get that as flat as I can, but trying to get that like perpendicular to a odd face is difficult. I've got my magnet set up so I can draw around it. We need to get a flat bit underneath here, so then that can all be welded onto the panel. Sometimes being a content creator is learning. Well, I mean, a lot of the time. And in this instance, I had to learn before I showed you the old Marge Simpson trick where she gets piano lessons and she only stays one lesson ahead of the student. Made some panels. These were with a bead roller and then a lot of hammer and dolly. And there's just a lot of damage on the inside, or a lot of marks on the inside from where I've been hitting it. Then watched a short on Facebook from 6'4 Stout. She made some, what would they be called? Where she made some wooden jigs and then bashed it around. And I did the same thing for this. I can't show you how to make this because I didn't film it because I was learning. I was staying one lesson ahead. But next time I do it, I can film it, you can all watch. I made these, bashed it around, and then we've got this now. Yeah? So I'm gonna make another one, get it into the same position as this, then weld them up, dress them, and then we can put them into the tailgate. So there's the basic shape. There's going to be a little bit more fine tuning, just getting things around how I need it to be, but I'm going to do that off camera because there's a lot of work from here to, oh, it fell apart, whatever this one looked like. Yeah, pretty close. When I come to welding it, I'll put another clamp in the middle there, but that's pretty bang on. So I can weld those both together, cut them out, get them in the tailgate. Sick. Form. It's called a form. And funnily enough, this is form ply, of course. Alrighty, let's get these bad boys tacked up. That one's done. The other one's also done, but I went one step further and then realized I made a mistake with that step, which is fixable, but I wish I didn't have to fix it. This plane here needs to be the same as this plane here. I've tried to get that fold as close as I can, but it's not close enough. So I think the fix is cut, and then I can get the fold right in the corner, but I'm gonna have to flatten that out first. On this one, we want to cut in the corner, and then get the fold right running along the back. Whoops. Fixable, but I really don't want to have to make another one of these, because then I need to go cut another one out, make another one, weld it together. Dang it. Do I try and fix that one first? If I do this one, I can always try and weld it back together. If I fold that one and it's wrong, and then I fold it again, it's probably going to be too weak to try for a third time. Let's go for the blue one first. Oh, yeah, that's better. Holy cow, I think I saved it. Definitely not as pretty, but it's gonna get the job done. I got a little ahead of myself. Started doing one side, got the other side welded in so I could work out what I was doing, and then just forgot that I do this for YouTube and I have to make content. This is kind of all done. We've got the grip, we've got the ridge transition top and bottom, and I just need to get this over this side. So we've got top piece, bottom piece, and then we've got the handle. So we've got to be very careful about positioning of the handle because we already have where it needs to go on the other side. Oh yes, so that has been hours, days of messing around. I tacked it together kind of 50–60%, and then I ended up giving it to my mate Eden at Nostalgia Designs, and he finished it up for me with Oxy. Oxy puts a lot more heat into it and the whole thing warps way more, but you can panel beat it flat, whereas if I just MIG'd the entire thing, every bit, you grind it down, you can't panel beat it and it starts cracking. So there's probably like 2 days of panel beating in there. There's still quite a lot to do, but we are just gonna wrap the line basically the whole bed. So it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but boy does it look good. I'm happy with how everything, all of the shapes have lined up, and now we can transfer this onto the bed and sort out what's going on in here. Before we get to that, we've got the tail light issue. So E30 tail light, we've got a good indicator over here, which means we can replace this cracked one. And we've also got to work out, I can't use this. This is where the bulbs go, and there's just not enough room in the back of the tailgate to be able to slide that in and out. We've got some Gen 4 Subaru Liberty tail lights. I went to my local wreckers, walked around, was trying to find a tail light that had the clip lock and 4 globes in the loom. So I'll be able to redo the connector and then use this loom, and we're gonna cut out the back of these and glue that bit onto our tail light. So then we have all of these little clip locks, and the wiring harness is already there, so we don't need to worry about much else. Confirmed it with the engineer as well. That's fine. The E30 normally has tail, brake, and then a fog tail. So it's a little bit brighter, but in Australia we don't get fog or snow or any reason to use that. So it's just gonna be these two outers, tail and brake. Gonna change up what it normally is from factory, but this one on the Liberty, that one and that one are both tail and brake. Tail and brake. So we need to take this cover off, remove the lights. First step, we need to get rid of any bits that are gonna be in the way when it comes to gluing the backings on. So we should just be able to break some of this stuff off because it's really old plastic. No. Ah! All right, I shouldn't have done that, but that can be fixed. As soon as I did it, I realized, all right, well, let's just not do that again, eh? Just gonna mix up some Terrason PU9225 SF. Again, SF, super fast. It's like 90-second cure time. I'll glue that back in, let it set, and then maybe sand that down properly, eh? Yarg! Fixed. So I'm still gonna kind of sand that down. Now looking at it, these lugs are where the backing plate kind of locks into. You can see the lens through the other side. So I'm gonna grind that down, get one of the tail lights that I'm not using, cut out a section and then glue that back on just to seal that up, and then I'll do the same thing to that one. This is the lens that I'm cutting the indicator out of. That means this is all scrap, and it's scrap basically because that's pretty damaged, which means all of this plastic I can cut and then use to glue into my other tail light. We want to give everything a quick wipe down with some Terrason's VR10. Make sure it's all nice and clean before we glue it up. Gonna remove the harness, and I went with this light as well because they're wedge bulbs and they just sit a little bit lower. We are kind of restricted by how much space we've got in the lens and then how much space we've got sitting on top of the lens. But if I went a different kind of bulb, it might have fouled on the taillight. I have a fly flying around my calves and it is incredibly annoying. On the back of these lights, they've got these little rings and I think they're heat sinks. Really, there's no ground on there, so it can't be a grounding ring, but whatever. Let's cut them up. Oh, you're gonna die, pal. We just want to get that there, too tall. There ain't gonna be much left. It would be like that. That's all done, and I didn't film any of it, but I do still have one more to glue up, so we can go through the process with that one. The issue with this one is there is a metal lining in one of the tail lights, and that is completely rusted out. So if you've got a left-hand side tail light that may be damaged on the indicator or just spare sitting around, leave a comment or contact me through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the same name. I've already tested this one and they all work, which is sick. The reverse light is really bright, so I think I'm gonna have to find something that's, I don't know, not as bright, and I'm not going to cut the other Liberty light up just yet until I found the replacement. This top joint can get all welded, so I've got a damp rag sitting on here. Heat can't spread down and warp anything. Let's get all of that welded up because we can also come down the face on either side as well. Oh, right down the chute. So this end, the skin has multiple layers that I wasn't able to pull apart because it's part of the skin. And in between those layers is either glue or seam sealer. So this is gonna smoke up, spark, spit, and there's not a lot I can do about it. In these kinds of instances, the best thing to do is kind of like pump the heat into it, kind of burn out the gunk in between and like send it, but it means you put a lot more heat into the panel. And I get a lot of sparks in my damn shoe. Yarg. First line of maybe 30, I guess. Yippee. Making real good progress on the tailgate. So we've got this corner done now and it came up quite nice. I've still got a little bit of welding to do on this back panel to the radius and then some larger holes from where my cutting basically let me down. I've got to take the tailgate off of the car and there is like probably 3 or 4 meters worth of welding to do. We've got 2 lines down the boot lip, we've got behind the tail light, we've got down the side here, and I'm going to do that all off camera because that is just like hours, probably days of welding that I need to get done. That's a tailgate and it looks terrific.